Does he know y'all have this in the doc?
I would doubt he knows.
So when this airs, that'll be the first time that his legal team, Diddy, that everybody knows that this footage is now seeing the light of day. One could watch this and think that you really hate Sean Combs.
If Sean Combs watches this, what do you think he's going to feel?
Like, wow, this is amazing. I think he's going to say this is the best documentary I've seen in a long time.
Janice Combs, how you feel about her? I mean, they alleging that she was, having freak-offs.
I spoke to a man, Mr. Brown, who used to go to the freak-offs, and he knew Miss Combs, and he knew about her and her freak-offs and everything like that. We had always thought that she had a modeling agency, but it wasn't a modeling agency. It was more a brothel that she ran for high-profile drug dealers. And
50 Cent has shocked the internet once again by announcing the official release of Season 2 of his explosive series, The Reckoning. This time, the emphasis is placed squarely on Janice Combs, the powerful individual who has long been thought to have played a major role in Diddy's ascent and the subtle influence that shaped Bad Boy entertainment. According to sources, big outlets backed off from crucial material in the first season, but 50 now seems to be locked in with a no-holds-barred strategy, moving ahead without hesitation. He is preparing to launch this explosive new chapter straight into YouTube, vowing to provide a daring viewpoint that the world has never seen before and making it apparent that he is no longer interested in keeping anything back.
Yeah, my mom's gorgeous. Hold on, let me introduce you to my mom, called Mom Dukes.
Hi.
She's getting a drip with me. She's hydrating. What's up, Mom?
Everything's good, baby. I'm here with you.
Yeah.
I love you.
I love you too.
It begins by delving into Diddy's early years, depicting a childhood molded by loss, pressure, and control, where the absence of his father, once a well-known figure in Harlem, forced Janice Combs to assume complete charge of the family and alter their surroundings. A longtime acquaintance claims that their house quickly became a gathering place for powerful people, exposing Diddy to authority, prestige, and notoriety before he was ready, and ingraining such dynamics into his mentality. In addition to being intense, the music had a formative effect on his perception of control and influence. Even while the neighborhood's residents were aware that something greater was developing behind those doors, only a small number of them really grasped the scope of what was about to happen.
Mom, she came out defending her son, man. How you feel about that? She made a comment saying that he's not a monster.
I guess this is my newfound career, so I'm gonna say what on my mind and what I think, brother. First of all, that's his mother. Wrong, right, or indifferent, she gonna lie, steal, kill, and protect her child. That's what she's supposed to do. But the apple don't fall far from the tree, man. You gotta realize that. He didn't get all this from his daddy, because he didn't know his daddy, even though they try to say his daddy was some big time drug dealer in the whole 9 yards. You understand? He didn't get this from his daddy. You gotta realize, man, his mother had a modeling agency, and it was alleged that it was also Ladies of the Night, a ring too.
Janice Combs moved with obvious drive and a keen sense of influence right on, while establishing herself in influential Harlem circles to get traction. And once Diddy's father passed away, she started making her kid the focal point of a much larger plan. The documentary describes how, according to Patterson, their living room became into a little stage where Diddy and others were forced to dance, perform, and command attention as spectators responded in real time, transforming everyday events into lessons in control and exposure. In that setting, he not only matured, but also learned about the mechanics of attention, how presence is constructed, and how influence grows in a spotlight. He also absorbed concepts that would eventually propel his ascent in a world where perception and power are paramount.
But when I said Diddy mother might be the originator of the freak-offs, all right, so tomorrow Peacock is dropping. According to the Rolling Stone, the doc features an alleged childhood friend of Puff's, hip-hop producer Tim Dog Patterson. He alleged that Janice, Diddy's mom, would often throw parties at Diddy's childhood home. He says that during the parties, it wasn't uncommon to walk into rooms where adults was having sex. I mean, that was just their normal. And the doc, when talking about The parties, Tim says, verbatim, that's what we were privy to. This was what we were fed.
As those close to Diddy describe how deliberate and calculated Janice Combs' influence seemed to be, a more unsettling aspect of his upbringing starts to emerge. Family insiders note that their dynamic frequently created a sense of discomfort, suggesting a carefully controlled environment rather than a casual upbringing. Those who watched them carefully said it wasn't by coincidence that she controlled his exposure to authority, attention, and praise. It was intentional, methodical, and persistent, instilling in children a mentality focused on control and visibility from a young age. These weren't chance encounters, rather they were lessons intended to shape his presence and perception, subtly influencing his future approach to leadership and influence, and in the end, establishing the strong character that would come to characterize his ascent in the field.
Man was talking about that his mother could take her palms and bend over and put them down on the floor. Not bend over, but she could stand straight up and put her palms on the floor, bruh. He's saying that about his mother. Who describes any of their mother action like that in a sexual way? And then, you know, I don't know how many dudes do kiss their mother in their mouth when they 50, 60 years old or something like that. That's them, that's their whole thing, man. But that was a little kind of weird for me. And then his mother wore the same white fingernail polish that Cassie described that he liked to see her and other models in when she was describing her lawsuit. And what's crazy to me is that, man, it seemed like him and his mother had this, I don't want to get too deep, man, this Oedipus complex.
Diddy's high-profile events mirrored the environment he grew up in, which was centered on presence, influence, and control. These patterns ultimately reverberated across the universe he subsequently constructed. Janice Combs was always present at these events. According to several reports, she continued to be conscious and often present. Witnesses recalled her silently directing from the background while keeping a careful check on everything. It was clear that her impact wasn't fleeting, but rather firmly ingrained in the identity and strategy that came to characterize his ascent because of her persistent engagement, which not only supported the surroundings, but also strengthened the root she had previously created.
Because one of the witnesses said she was there. And do you remember this, bro? Check it out. People tell off on themselves so much, man, and I don't understand when people don't catch it. Diddy has said this. He said, when I give a party, I have to have an ambulance outside of the house. Paramedics ready. That people have to take IVs. Remember the time that him and his mama kissed each other on the lips?
Yeah, I remember that video.
Do you remember that both of them was getting an IV at the same time?
Yeah, I did notice that, yep.
That's from the Diddy freak off party. And I'm gonna say allegedly.
So let me ask you this. You knowing her at one point, you knowing her personally, is she the kind of person that, you know, will be a part of a freak off or no?
I think that she liked to party and she partied with young people. She's always been like that. She always copied or emulated Little Kim and Mary J. Blige, or they emulated her. The blonde hair, the nails, the high boots, the age-appropriate
And Gene Deal said that he had always sensed something was wrong with Diddy and Janice Combs' tight relationship, particularly after the loss of his father, when Janice thrust him into the position of head of the family much too fast, burdening him with a great deal of responsibilities. Not only did that early change strengthen their relationship, but it also made it more passionate and domineering over time. Gene claims that Janice remained intimately engaged in every aspect of Diddy's life, from his social circle to his public persona, subtly directing his course, influencing important choices and creating the patterns that would finally characterize his ascent.
Relationship, whether it's physical or mental, with a mother and a son. So I'm looking at his mother and him on the couch, and both of them are getting IVs after one of the Diddy parties. Allegedly. I'm gonna say allegedly because I wasn't there and I didn't know, but they showed them both getting IVs on the couch. So my whole thing about this thing is that I'm not saying that she was ever at a freak off, she was ever at that type of party, but you can't tell me Miss Janice Combs, who was always at the regular parties, didn't know nothing about the freak off.
According to reports, Cassie also discussed strange and very frightening dynamics in the home, in providing a deeper look at how much Janice Combs influenced Diddy's life, influencing not just his choices, but also the way his surroundings were set up. These allegations state that she penetrated customs and routines that were foreign to outsiders, resulting in an environment that many characterized as strictly regulated, very regimented, and hard to ignore. The environment, according to some who saw it firsthand, had a profound and long-lasting effect, subtly influencing Diddy's thoughts and actions in ways that few outside of that tight group could ever completely comprehend.
Situation where they say he was trying to shape Misa into his mother. Can you see that? Like,
yeah, with the blonde hair and yeah, and all of that. I mean, somebody
really
asked a question: what kind of man puts his hands on his mother? The same kind of man that parties with his mom, the same kind of man who kisses his mom in the mouth, the same kind of man who seems to have accurate knowledge that his elderly mother can put both of her hands, her palms, on the floor and while she's standing up, bent over.
Oh damn, I ain't seen that one. Oh.
You never seen the Instagram video where he was talking about how his mom was still young and spry and how she still liked the party and how they was getting a IV drip?
Oh. Damn.
And she was kissing him in the mouth on the video when he was like, yeah, my mom can bend over and touch the floor with her palms.
No.
It's a very, very, very weird relationship.
To put it in context, Diddy's early existence was anything from typical. It was influenced by pressure, continual mobility, and a degree of impact that most young people never encounter. Additionally, it is said that Janice Combs oversaw a vibrant social circle right out of their house, with people often coming and going under her guidance, something that many in their immediate vicinity kept a secret. Diddy wasn't only watching while growing up in such setting. He was seeing in real time how authority is maintained, control is developed, and structure is imposed. Those early teachings remained relevant. They were deeply ingrained in his thoughts, subtly influencing the strategic thinking and dominating demeanor that would subsequently characterize his ascent in the field.
How you feel about, her? I mean, they alleging that she was, having freak-offs.
I spoke to a man, Mr. Brown, who used to go to the freak-offs. And this guy lives in Georgia right now. And he told me that he was a stick-up kid back in the day. And one time he had robbed one of their spots. And he went back and he had got the money and gave them their money back and everything like that. And he knew Miss Combs and he knew about her and her freak-offs and everything like that. We had always thought that she had a modeling agency, but it wasn't a modeling agency. It was more of a brothel that she ran for high-profile drug dealers and athletes. You could tell by I could tell that Miss Combs at the time, and actually saw her like young guys. She came at me a couple of times back in my heyday, before the extra 75 pounds back then. And the reason I left Bad Boy wasn't only because of her advances, it's because I got tired of a lot of the bullshit.
Janice Combs has responded to the documentary with a strong rejection of the allegations, which is not unexpected. However, the ensuing quiet has simply heightened the discussion. At opposing further questions about what is and isn't really being contested, many observers find it impossible to overlook the fact that neither she nor Diddy have filed a lawsuit against 50 Cent or the platforms associated with the project, despite the grave consequences these accusations might have for their reputations. Some believe that the lack of a judicial reaction is telling, suggesting that the story may be more accurate than anticipated. The absence of direct confrontation also feeds rumors that there is more significance to this narrative than they are ready to publicly acknowledge, even if everything is still in the realm of allegations.
Speaking out about the Netflix documentary, Sean Combs' The Reckoning. In a statement to Deadline, she said, "These inaccuracies regarding my son Sean's upbringing and family life are intentionally done to mislead viewers and to further harm our reputation." She also maintains she was not an abusive parent and says that Diddy never slapped her, as previously stated in the documentary.
The driving force behind Diddy's business philosophy is presented as Janice Combs, who discreetly maintains control behind the scenes, like leading him through the industry and influencing choices long before they are seen by the public. Claims indicate that she maintained genuine control over important assets while being the face of Bad Boy Entertainment, portraying her not just as a supporter, but also as a strategic player at the center of the empire. She is portrayed in 50 Cent highlighted footage and interviews as the ultimate gatekeeper of the label's financial orientation, someone adept at handling pressure while maintaining control. Additionally, sources believe that Diddy's handling of significant papers was not symbolic. It demonstrated how firmly her power was ingrained in the empire's structure and reinforced a system intended to safeguard resources and maintain distance when needed.
You think it's Diddy, it's Janice Combs. Janice Combs is Bad Boy. Man. You don't actually sign to Diddy. His name is on a dotted line, but you actually sign it to Janice Combs.
Did he ever tell you why that is, or do you understand?
Oh, now that I'm older, I know exactly what it is. It's a paper trail, so nothing can come bite me. If you come for me, you ain't coming for me. I ain't got nothing. You going to my...
So why does Diddy take the lead while Janice Combs maintains complete control? The explanation stems from a pivotal occurrence in December 1991, when he planned a significant celebrity charity basketball game at City College of New York. The event descended into tragedy as a crowd surge evolved into a tragic stampede, killing many people. A bitter reality was forced as a result of the victims' families' intense legal pressure after the incident. Everything he created might be at jeopardy in the event of another disaster. As a result, a more deliberate structure emerged, with Janice retaining power to preserve the empire's core, guaranteeing that assets remained safe regardless of what transpired in public, and outlining the reasons for the true authorities behind the scenes operations.
2000s and 2010s, Diddy was really prospering, music, business, fashion. And one of the things that he had said, what he alleged in the documentary, and again, this is an allegation from him, was that the name Bad Boy Entertainment, Combs's name was not really involved in that on the corporate side. And one of the things he's saying is the reason for that was to avoid having to pay any liability from, the devastating basketball game that had happened in the early 90s, where he was the subject of wrongful death lawsuits because of the multiple deaths that had occurred as a result of that basketball game that Diddy was behind organizing. So that was really, surprising to hear.
Yeah, that was a big allegation, because the families of the victims killed in that stampede, it was horrible. We're talking about December 28th, 1991. Combs, fellow rapper Heavy D, they hosted this charity basketball game. The game took place at the gymnasium of the City College of New York. And according to the New York Daily News, before the basketball game started, people who weren't let inside, they broke a window, swarmed toward the entrance of the gym, all went down a staircase. The doors at the bottom of those stairs open towards the stairs, not towards the gym. So once a crowd got down there, they couldn't get the doors open and people started being crushed. 9 people died, dozens of others were injured. And there were no criminal charges that were ever filed against anyone for the stampede, but multiple families and injured.
Who saw the incident personally holds Diddy directly accountable, citing inadequate security that disregarded alerts and circumstances that, in his opinion, caused the tragedy to occur when it might have been avoided. He presents the incident as something more than a failure. It's a clear illustration of how easily control can be lost and how responsibility becomes inevitable when actions have such a significant effect, providing a lasting reminder of the true cost of power.
I was at City College. You understand? I was there. I was doing security. My team was supposed to have the outside. Puff came to me the day before we were supposed to do the job there and told me that Heavy D didn't want us to do the security outside. I had 18 men ready to do the security outside with my dogs like I always do. People knew how we used to roll. We would have the pits, the Rottweilers, you understand? You know, we had that outside locked up. So anybody try to bum rush, anybody do that, we had the gates, the whole 9 yards. So we could stop all that. You know how people gonna get down in Harlem. You understand? So, and then when you got LL Cool J, you got Mike Tyson coming through there, and they coming through the front door so people see them. So they gonna go crazy. LL was the hottest thing out at that time. Mike Tyson was the hottest thing out at that time. They got all kinds of stars and people in there already. They was coming through the back. They came through the front. And it caused the door to be bum rushed. But if they had the gates up, if they had the dogs, and with the help of the police, that shit would have never happened, bro. That shit would have never happened. I was there, I saw it. I saw Jessica run down the steps after she grabbed the money box because my man Eddie was protecting her. And Eddie's the one called me on the walkie-talkie and said, yo, Jessica just locked me in outside the gym, Gene. You couldn't go down the steps after they bum rushed the door. You understand? I had to run around the whole gym on the outside, around the gym, down the steps, run across the basketball court, and open the front door. When I opened that one door, because it pushed inside, people start squeezing through that. Then I just kept doing the doors, and people was coming in there, falling dead, right out, just falling out right there. And once they got in there, they just fell out. It was crazy, bro. You know, he just wanted us to do inside the gym to make sure that nobody, you know, be over the celebrities like that. That's what he wanted my team to do. But most of the celebrities gonna have their own security anyway. You know what I'm saying? That was just a way to cut our security off anyway. So he cut the security and he got the FOIs, and the FOIs left their post, and that's how the people bum rushed the door, and 9 people died by going down those corridors.
And you blame Diddy for that?
Yeah, I do.
Although there was no denying the strength of Diddy's relationship with Janice Combs, its influence extended beyond their home. As his dominance increased, it permeated every aspect of his life, influencing his views on control, influence, and family. In the end, it became clear how deeply early conditioning can reverberate through decisions, behavior, and the structure of a life built in the spotlight. The same patterns and lessons from his early years started to emerge in the way he managed relationships and environments around him, creating dynamics that both fascinated and unsettled those watching his rise.
So the freak offs that his son is there. Like, it seems like he likes to get down with his kids.
Yeah. But that wasn't all. Just to hear Little Rod say, like, the boys were around. Roger Bonds talked about the children as well. What kind of parenting relationship is that? But then again, that goes back to the conversation of Lori Harvey, Steve Harvey's daughter. It was all known that she was spotted in them streets with Justin, and then she was spotted in them streets with Diddy, and they all tried to sit there and pretend like that wasn't what it was. Like, I don't know if anybody has not noticed, but ever since Diddy got pinched, they've all been trying to pretend like all of the stuff that we've seen that happened, that they was all involved in Diddy.
With Diddy allegedly ordering a stop and desist and calling the project defamatory, deceptive, and purposefully harmful, everyone in Diddy's inner circle seems to be rushing to put an end to 50 Cent's documentary. His legal team, however, maintains that the allegations are unsubstantiated, inflated, and designed to damage reputations rather than disclose facts. But it's difficult to overlook the true change. The first season was not followed by the legal push. It only came to light after rumors of the explosive second chapter started to circulate, suggesting that whatever comes next would have a far greater effect than anything that has previously been published.
Lawyers for Sean Diddy Combs trying to stop the release of a Netflix docuseries due out today.
We have to find somebody that'll work with us that has dealt in the dirtiest of dirty business.
The series contains never-before-seen footage of Combs debating strategy with his lawyers in the days leading up to his arrest in New York last year.
I am going to let you professionals look at the situation and come back to me with a solution.
It also includes video of Combs greeting fans in Harlem.
Off my back. I'm gonna win. As long as you win, be with it. I'll accept it.
And then saying this about the interaction moments later.
I need some hand sanitizer. Hold on. I got. I've been out in the streets amongst the people. Yeah, I gotta take a bath. Like the amount of people that actually I'm coming in contact with, like that's what I have to do. You know what I'm saying? It's like 150 hugs.
Now Combs' lawyers are demanding Netflix pull the series, threatening legal action, claiming Netflix is using stolen footage that was never authorized for release as part of what they call a shameful hit piece. The series is executive produced by Combs' longtime rival, Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, and director Alex Stapleton, who said, quote, "We obtained the footage legally and have the necessary rights," end quote. Before the cease and desist demand was sent yesterday, Stapleton and Jackson sat down with our Robin Roberts to discuss the series.
How do you respond to people who say that it's more about the disdain that you have for Sean Combs than it is for giving the victims a platform?
It's not personal.
The show is not completely the perspectives of people that did not like Sean. Not everyone needed to have an allegation to be a part.
Diddy seems to be taking a different approach, leaning into the idea of releasing his own documentary to assert his side, despite the fact that existing footage and firsthand accounts are already shaping a very different narrative. Most people facing controversy move quickly with legal pressure. That tactic runs the danger of intensifying the issue rather than diffusing it, attracting more attention, posing additional questions, and transforming an already stressful situation into something.
Combs' sons Justin and Christian are teasing a new docuseries about their family. Justin and Christian King Combs appear in a new trailer released December 28th to Instagram by Zeus Network's founder. In the trailer, Justin and Christian sit on a couch in a screening room while a series of headlines about their father cycle on screen. At the end of the trailer, Justin's phone vibrates and he answers a collect call from the Fort Dix Federal Correctional Institute, where Combs is currently behind bars. No release date for the docuseries is given, though the teaser says viewers can expect it at some point in 2026. Combs shares Justin with ex-Misa Hilton and Christian with the late Kim Porter. The rapper is also dad to 34-year-old son Quincy and daughters Chance, 19, twins Delilah and Jesse, also 19, and Love, who is 3 years old. Combs was transferred to Fort Dix from the Metropolitan Detention Center in New York in late October after he was sentenced to 50 months in prison on prostitution.
Zeus Network has a new Diddy documentary coming out, and this time it is coming from the perspective of Diddy and his sons. All the time I thought we were about to leave Diddy in 2025. Well, this documentary is coming in 2026. And a lot of people, just like myself, are already not feeling this new documentary coming from Diddy's sons. A lot of people aren't happy about it and actually shocked that the owner of Zeus Network, Lemmy, is doing this Diddy documentary. But what a lot of people fail to forget is Lemmy and Diddy have been friends for quite some time.
His children arriving in court for day one of their father's trial in New York, hands gripped in solidarity.
Do you still believe your dad's innocent? How did you feel hearing that testimony? Have you apologized on behalf of your father? Do you believe your father's innocent? Do you still convince your father's innocent? Your daddy does for years! Your daddy does for years for abusing women! That's wrong! You cannot work!
The foes, the joy, the pain, our voice, the loyalty, the betrayal, the highs, the lows, the love, the hate, the truth, the lies. And Diddy calling from Fort Dix.
This is a prepaid collect call from Federal Correctional Institution, Fort Dix.
When they released this trailer last night, there were so many comments to Lemmy and Zeus Network that they did not want to see this. A lot of people feel like this whole new documentary is just a PR narrative, once again being pushed by Diddy and his sons to try to clean up his image. And after hearing certain things on 50 Cent's Netflix documentary, we have to go back in time and remember what we were seeing during trial. Even when it came to Diddy's sons, Christian and Justin Combs, they both came on 2 separate occasions to trial wearing a free Sean Combs shirt. The first one to do this was Christian Combs during Jane's testimony, and you're not supposed to wear this stuff in front of a jury to try to sway their opinions. And the judge actually told him he had to leave and take it off. And then literally like a week later, Justin did the same exact thing. It was taken out of the courtroom by the judge. And we already saw the videos in the Netflix doc of Diddy talking to Justin, saying he needed to push out certain content to control a narrative. During the trial, there were a lot of things going on that I could see that to me felt like it was just straight PR. Do you remember all of these people that were wearing the free Diddy shirts? And it was actually a
50 Cent quickly retaliated. He's openly marketing the next installment of his documentary and making it apparent that he's prepared to reveal previously undiscovered information, and indicating a no-holds-barred strategy that emphasizes unabashed narrative and raw information, and presenting the project as a powerful, unvarnished viewpoint intended to draw attention and maintain pressure.
Win of it hitting the news, hitting the blogs, and being on the timeline yesterday that Diddy's sons, Sean and Justin, will be dropping a docuseries of their own to tell their side of the story, their experiences, and how they view things on the Zeus Network. With 50 Cent put it up on his Instagram page, and he promoted the trailer when you look at it from the other side of it, on the marketing side, but he knows it plays back into the doc that he just dropped as well with the reckoning. He put it up and said, wow, I want to see this show. I'm not sure this was a good idea. And he tagged at 50 Cent Action, letting it be known that this is really
Janice Combs is no longer a background player. As the tale intensifies around Diddy, she is suddenly in the heart of it, taking full center stage. Whatever your position on the accusations, one thing is certain: a significant effort is being made to keep what comes next under strict supervision and out of the public eye. Stay tuned, because 50 Cent's next chapter is going to completely change the discourse, revealing details that might fundamentally alter how the narrative is seen, and you won't want to miss what happens.